If you implement some feature or function in the framework, it's available for each machine at Forget. It's about 400,000 lines of code right now.
Yeah, hello Kai. Thank you that you are open for a talk today to give us your view on the company and everything around you, to give us some insights.
Thanks to be here.
Yeah, maybe it's a good start if you just introduce yourself a little bit, easy. Who are you? Do you have a dog or a cat, or I don't know?
Okay, yes, my name is Kai auf dem Berge. I'm 45 years old. I'm working as a software engineer as Forget. A little bit of my background: I studied in 2000 electrical engineering. Yes, I graduated in 2004 as an electrical engineer, and now I'm working as Forget, and I'm responsible for our internal software framework, which we call Core 4. That's what I'm doing here.
Okay, so you started with electrical engineering. Was programming from the first day your favorite topic?
No, the studying was electrical engineering and specialized for, it's called automation technology. It's more a little bit different direction, and I started to deal with C# and .NET, the programming during writing my thesis in 2004, and when I started working at Forget, then it became more famous for me to write software with C, C# or the other languages.
So Forget was your first company where you worked, right?
Yes, Forget was the first company. After the university, I started to work for a company before Forget. I don't know if you know that there was a company where Forget was founded from, and then we all moved over to Forget in 2007, if I remember correctly. Yeah, then there was a short break when I worked for another company, and came back in 2016.
Okay.
And from then I'm working for Forget.
How came this break from, when I'm allowed to ask?
Yeah, different reasons. The location problem. My house is about 200 kilometers away from the Forget headquarters, and I decided to work for another company to see something different. And in 2016, the home office became more popular, and it was possible for me to work more in home office, and then I decided to come back to Forget.
And you came back with the same role as before?
Yes.
Or maybe makes sense, you can give me an overview what you did at Forget. You are now here for, when did you start? 2006 you said?
Yeah, around that, yeah.
So many years. What was your way inside the company?
Yeah, right now I'm responsible for our software framework. I'm the product owner of software framework and also the lead developer of our team. And before that, I also worked as a software developer, more project-based. We have some developers from project to project to develop the PLC program, and also the we call it HMI software over that.
You are still one of the programmers of the company. Up to now, I hadn't talked with a programmer, and I think it's, for most of the world, it's a job you do not feel what they are doing. Can you open a little bit for me? What is your day like? What are you doing and your team is doing? How do you work?
Yeah, because I'm the product owner, we're working with the Scrum process, and we have a product owner who's responsible for some software product, in our case the framework. Most of my day is meetings, not really programming.
Oh, yeah?
We have a lot of Scrum events, we call it review, planning, and also in the role as the lead developer, I have to talk a lot with other people from the team and help them find the right solution for something, or make some pair programming and so on. That's most of the work. Also, there are some other projects at Forget, older machines, service and so on, where you have to make some support. And if there is some time left, I can write some code, but that's not so much.
Yeah, but the other guys in your
the other guys in the team, they are writing software all the time.
How is your team built? I think, has everyone the same competence, or is it like this person knows these languages and this person other ones?
The team is right now about 15 developers. They all using the same language. It's C#.
Okay.
But they all have different parts from our framework where they are working. It's maybe some samples for image processing, where you're working with images is one part, and maybe some other developer knows more about our products. We have two different business units: the tire business and also the glass and semiconductor business, and it's shared over all developers.
Yeah. Okay. So you say everyone can write in C#. That means that's the typical language at the moment. The other ones are not so important, right?
Yeah, there's also Java. I think you have heard of Java, and it's like Apple and Windows. They can only be C# or Java.
Okay.
I think it's 50-50. We are using C# because we are not so oriented to the web, to some websites. We are Windows desktop applications, and there's C# is more popular for that.
Yeah. Okay, I see. So that's a general view on you and your team. Let us go a little bit deeper. What are you working on is maybe a bad question, because you are programming on machines. What is the hot topic at the moment? What challenge?
It's a framework. We are trying, or we started a project in 2020, beginning of 2020. We started a big project, the new software project, to build one framework or toolkit where we can configure a software for all machines at Forget with some basics or core, with the same HMI and same look and feel for all machines. And this is still going on, and we are working on it and implement new features and so on.
Can you maybe explain a little bit what framework exactly is? From my point of view, someone programs a software for this machine.
It's a toolkit, a modular toolkit with a lot of small components, pieces, with maybe some bigger core for all machines, and then a lot of small pieces where we can build on a complete software. And depending on the product where we are talking about, for example, a T-Mark is a product from Forget.
Yeah.
You take the core, and they take some other pieces from that framework, put it together to a whole software, and then you can control and visualize the machine.
Yeah, so the framework is something like a basic base stone for every machine.
For every machine.
Sounds heavy, because we have machines which are slow and not very precise, and on the other hand, very fast, very precise. Is that really effective? Because you have a really big stone in each PC, then it sounds slow.
Yeah, the main problem was, or the important thing is the architecture of the whole framework. And the technologies that we use. It's modular. We have different layers. Maybe I can show you a little bit in the framework for a better understanding what it is.
Sure.
I will show you here. Okay. If you see here, these are the components currently configured for this demo application.
Yeah.
You see the layer, it's called core. you see a lot of components, services and managers like text service or login service, setting service. These are all components on the core level available for all machines at Forget. Every machine we build will have that services. And based on that, in this case, we have the component layer. For example, we have an axis, it's called A axis in this case, or C axis. We have a camera, and this is all optional and can be configured whatever we need. That's the second level, and the third level is, we call it module. That's, at the end, that's the real machine. For example, we had the sample T-mark before, and that's on top of all. We have the module. Yeah, so we are working in different layers with very small pieces to realize that modularity of that framework.
Yeah, and then you have
that's the know-how.
Basement for every machine. Was that the main reason why you started this project, to have a clean basement and on every machine something is similar or the same?
Yeah, yes, of course. We have if we implement some feature or function now in the framework, it's available for each machine at Forget. And before we worked in a different way, then we had two different versions of some feature at different branches and so on. It was some kind of complicated. And now everything that's implemented or developed in the framework is automatically available for all machines. So that's a big advantage.
So that means the main benefit is on the Forget side. Yeah, you have a better, easier work now in the back end.
Yes. And
are there also benefits where your customers profit from?
Yes, of course. We also have benefits for the customer. What you can see, the HMI, we started to have a bigger monitor, full definition monitor with 16:9 resolution and a unique design concept. If you see, we have defined colors and reusable user controls. But also a second modularity level is the steps or jobs. Maybe I can also show you. Here is an example.
Yeah, sure.
There, if you have configured these components and you have the software, inside the software you also have the possibility to create jobs. Jobs is based on very small different steps. That's something the operator or the customer can configure and adjust to do what the customer needs to do. For example, here I show you we have a step to move an axis. Most of our machines are based on some X, Y, Z axis system. And there's one step which can move an axis from position A to B. And there's another step where you can switch on the laser or where you can start the scanner. And all these steps can be configured with different parameters, and you can move that wherever you want. So the customer has the possibility to build whatever he needs and can adjust without Forget need. We don't have to do some programming to adjust or to extend the software. That's also another big advantage of the framework.
Okay, I see. So I know, Kai, programmers are not very famous for good and comfortable designs. Is there one specialist in your team about that?
No, you're talking about engineering design, what you sometimes see if developers design some pages. That's the reason we decided at the beginning of the project to work with some external company. When we started in 2020, we made a cooperation with some external software company. They provided a good designer and also some software developers, because our team was not so big at that point. And the designer, they made a complete design concept with the colors and sizes and so on. And also a single design layout for each page you can see in the software.
Okay.
That was a big advantage, that we have had some design templates where we can work and on to implement that design in our framework.
It was a really large project. Much different people were involved, working together. Tell me a little bit, how did the project go on? So it's much to organize. How much people are involved? What was the main technology that you used? Did you start from scratch?
What do you think? How many lines of code do we have? It's just a guess.
Very difficult. I think at least 6-digit, but I'm not sure if it's high or low.
Yeah, it's good. It's about 400,000 lines of code right now,
yeah.
or the last week. Yeah, it's increasing every day. Yeah, yeah, we started from zero. Yes, we had a framework before with old technologies, and we decided to start from zero with no source code. Of course, we have some basics. For C# is .NET framework. Okay. Right now we're using .NET 6. We just moved over from .NET Core, was it called before, to .NET 6 right now. And we're also using a lot of Nugget packages, of course, where some features are already implemented by other people, and they provide it in Nugget packages, it is called. Yeah, but the main technologies for that huge project is we will write down 3 main things before we want to use. It's SRP, it's called. It's single responsibility principle, so that only one component is only responsible for one thing. It's the first thing. Then we will use composite components, it's called. So every component has also an interface where the behavior is defined. Okay. It's the second thing. And the third thing is it's called dependency injection. That's also very important to get that everything running. Yeah.
Okay, dependency injection I never heard. Is it simple to explain as the other examples?
I can try to explain it. Maybe that you can understand it with an example. If you think of a car needs an engine and a wheel. Yeah. And the classic programming is if you want to build a car, then you say build the car, and the car itself knows I need an engine, I need a wheel, so I build an engine and I build a wheel when someone wants to build me. That's the classic programming thinking before. Yeah. And dependency injection means that someone from outside will give the different components that are required to build something. In this example, the car only knows I need something that has the behavior like an engine and like the behavior of a wheel, and someone from outside will give these components through the car. That's dependency injection. I don't know if it was.
It's helped a little bit. Okay. It helps a little bit.
It's a bit to understand.
For me, it's still a huge, complex topic. I have no view.
There are also available packages to do that, dependency injection, but we decided for our framework to build our own dependency injection because the available packages were not good enough, or they don't have the requirements we need.
Yeah. Also from the scratch.
Yes.
Was the project worth it to make so much things from the scratch?
I think most of the things were necessary to build that from scratch. Okay.
Yeah. So now you are at some of the endpoint of the project. Yeah, software never is finished, I know. How were the last 2 years for you? It's
very interesting. A lot of learnings, especially in the software programming and different technologies. We learned a lot. Also, share the knowledge between the team. the first time that we work with the Scrum process in a team.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes we work in with pair programming and share the knowledge between the team. But also the complete software process was different now. We work with a Git repository and Azure DevOps and CI/CD pipelines. Maybe you have heard of that. The whole software development process was different than we did it before. You know, everything is automated now. If you write some code, you check it into some repository, and behind that, some automated software at Azure will check that and build some releases and so on. There we had a lot of learnings in the software development process.
Yeah. Okay. I forgot to ask one question before. The project or the framework is called Framework 4.0.
Yeah.
That sounds for me like an additional requirement for this project. Is it right? Like Industry 4.0, was that also target?
Yes. Regarding the name, it's really the framework number 4 at Berge.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the reason for the name. But back to your questions, yes, there are also some features already inside the framework for Industry 4.0. The standard, like we collect the operating time of the software, the alarm statistic, and production statistic, how many pieces are produced, how many are good, how many are bad, and so on. This Industry 4.0 features are already implemented, and also we are prepared to collect a lot of data and save that, and the knowledge or what we have to do in the future is to analyze that and make some conclusion of that data. That's, I think, you have to do with Industry 4.0.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So you enable that also the customers can get the data easier, communicate better with the machine.
Yeah.
Okay, all in all, the solution sounds like now it's everything more comfortable for you and also for the customer, because if you make something better for one machine, it will also be better for every other machine.
Yeah.
For example.
That's a big advantage, yeah.
You several times mentioned the word modularity. For my ears, it's just a buzzword at the moment. Can you give me something like a touchable example for this?
Yes, of course. Maybe we will look again into the software, and I will show you. Just a short overview. In the top we have our system menu, and on the left side we have our main menu. If you go to components, now they are sorted by different types. Now we are at positioning axis. You see A axis and C axis. These are two axes configured for this demo now. Yeah. And now I can try to go to the configuration and maybe simply add another axis. Let's see if I can find it. Here are so many different types. These are all the blocks which I can configure for the software. I selected a simple PLC controlled axis. Push add. Okay. And then we have to restart. Okay, after restarting the software, we can go back through the components menu, and now you can see that we have another axis there which is available, can be controlled. There's no name, it's just axis, it's a default name. And yeah, you can just do it when you go to the configuration. On the left side you have all the available modules, and you can simply put them to the right side to the configuration. Then you have to restart, and everything is available you need.
Okay, that's the modularity. Every module is prepared for every machine.
Yes.
How big is this benefit for you compared to the old situation, maybe?
Yeah, maybe I can explain it with an example of our recipes. We have different types of recipes. I think the most common for us is the engraving recipe. So that's something a scanner and a laser can engrave on a surface like a tire or something like that. If you have a machine, maybe we look at our Pearl product, which is just cutting some glass and moving, and you decide later that you need to engrave something. With the new framework, you can just add this module to the software. It's just configuration and activation, and then you go through our engraving recipes, and you can configure whatever you want for engraving. I have some sample here. It's just an 8 or a circle, and
And in the past, it would have needed several hundred hours to implement this, or
because the implementation, you had to do the implementation just for this one machine. It was not in a basic framework. And now every feature is available on every machine, if it makes sense, and if the hardware behind is available. That's
sure.
requirement.
At the moment, you seem to be very confident. Was a good step that you go, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Will that last now? Is that a project that you need to do every 10 years or something like that? Because it lasts 2 years. I'm thinking about how often do you need to do it to stay state of the art?
I think we're prepared very well for that. Right now we're using the newest technologies. We are state of the art, and we have the possibility to move with the technology. Every time Microsoft is providing something new, we can switch over to that. That's no problem. Sometimes, or most of the time, the Microsoft team is faster than we. We are always behind. It's hard to stay at the newest technologies. And one big advantage is that we have so many small pieces. If something is not working anymore or has some old technologies, we can just cut it off and implement something new. There are no such dependencies between the components. If something is broken, we can just cut it up and delete it.
At the moment, you think that will last for a long time. You will profit from this.
Yes,
but
I hope that.
But I'm sure there will come a point where you think, okay, now we need a new framework.
Yeah, especially the UI. There's a lot of technology changes right now. Maybe there's something new in the next years, but we are good with our UI right now.
I already understood that this framework is now very helpful for you, and it's 400,000 lines of code, so it's very, still very complex project. What would be a perfect framework for your point of view? How does it look like?
The perfect framework would that we don't have to write code, just configure. For example, everything is inside the framework, everything is there, and you just configure the software you need to control the machine. But that means that there's no work anymore for the software programmers, so makes no sense.
I could be a programmer then. That's good.
Makes no sense. I don't know. So
it will not happen.
No, it will not happen. There are always new components, new hardware components that needs to be implemented, new process features, and so on. So it's continuous development.
We will never get to the perfect framework, but do you maybe have something like a vision? What can be easier in 10 years? What now is still uncomfortable?
Yeah, the vision is that we don't have to do so much software development with the machine, that more the process people from the application lab can configure whatever they need, and then we can just move it from the application lab to the real machine. And that we can concentrate on other things like new core features or new technologies. That we that we decide a little bit between product, software, and real development or research and development. That we have more time for that.
Okay, Kai. You mentioned, that's definitely an interesting point of this company, that you are a programmer, but you still work with real parts, with real axes, with tools, with much components. You need to work with them. I expect that's a big challenge for a programmer, which is normally only in a black room programming.
Yes, of course. You have to know a lot of the other departments, like the mechanics. You need some basic mechanics knowledge, and you also need to know something about lasers and the physics behind that. How does a laser work?
Yeah, sure.
And
the process details from the laboratory you need to realize.
Yes, they have very interesting ideas, and then can you do that? And then you have to think about that. How you calculate something? How can you put that into software? That's something you have to deal with at Forget. Yeah.
Okay.
It's sometimes hard. Yeah. During the time at Forget, you're learning a lot of basic physics understanding, how physics is working, and laser and scanner, how that works together, and so on.
Yeah, so much more knowledge you need to learn over the years.
Yeah.
And it's getting in my mind, it's a little bit similar. You also need to work with different machines from different suppliers, right? We are delivering the machines into a factory, and there are different other machines. Every machine needs to talk with each other.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, we have different products. Some are in the line of the customer, where you have continuous production. So you have a machine before our machine and also a machine behind that. So we are working with interfaces to the customer or also to other machine suppliers. And that's it's really hard to work with. Yeah, you have to define an interface. That's okay. That's not so complicated. But when you get to the customer on site and start implementing and run the interface, then it's getting interesting. We call it ping pong play. And you start the machine, and sometimes something is not working, and then you are looking on your side and say, on my side, everything is fine. It must be your side. And then the customer has to look. I fixed the problem. It's moving a little bit forward, and then maybe it's on your side. So until everything is working fine, that's always a nice work. Yeah. Okay. It's interesting.
Typically, the vision was one of my last questions, but maybe there's something in your heart you want to mention, you want to say to upcoming programmers, maybe, which are afraid now after after 400,000 lines.
We are always looking for new programmers who wants to work for Forget. It's very interesting and complex. As I explained, what is inside the framework, it's very innovative. We are working with the newest technologies. And the main difference to normal or to typical office software programming is that you always work together with the machine. At the end, when you do something in the software, you have some hardware behind which is moving, or you see some laser or some scanner which is doing something on a surface of a tire. So that's a big advantage here in our business. It's completely different.
Good point. Thank you. So, okay, finally my last question. I asked every of the interview guests now, when I tell you the word Forget, what are the 5 buzzwords coming in your mind, popping up?
Okay, it's innovative, complex, sometimes stressful, and it's good teamwork in our teamwork.
One more, maybe?
Interesting and...
Okay. Laser.
Laser, of course. I forgot.
Okay. Yeah, then, thank you, Kai.